YouTube, it's your boy Pilot Flame here, and today we're going through the Final Fantasy XIV leaks for the upcoming expansion, Shadowbringers. So today we'll be starting with the tanks, and I'll give you my overview and thoughts on what I think with the little bit of information that we have a day just before the live letter. So first off, no more stance dancing. People felt that this was the skill element to tanks. People felt that this is kind of what made the job a little bit, gave it a little bit of its identity. But now they're going to be built into more of what is quoted here to be as traits. So I guess it's going to be more aggro generation than anything. And with the speculation that the crossroll system be going out, tank swapping will also be something that could be a bit interesting as well, but we don't have much information on that. Let's start off with the first tank here. So Dark Knight, it seems like Dark Knight's going to be more of like the evil sorcerer type of, I'm going to be this here, there, everywhere type of tank. So it's apparently getting upgrades to its animations, and it's basically like ultimate ability, as it were, which seems to be a theme of this expansion, is going to be a ability apparently called Living Shadow. Lasts 24 seconds, and it spans every CD that you have, similar to the NPC, what the NPC gave you, rather, in your quest in Heaven's Ward. And apparently it can spread stuff like Blackest Night. Apparently it does all the GCDs that you do, the off GCDs that you do, auto attacks, all that sorts of stuff. So that's going to be quite interesting. That's going to be a lot of damage, because basically you're two players at that point, if it does the exact same actions that you do, and apparently it will maintain aggro as well. So defensively, this is also fantastic, because it's basically 24 seconds of hollow ground, effectively, and apparently it's been rumored to have a 2-minute cooldown. I've seen some screenshots where it's been touted to have a 2-minute cooldown. This could be a previous build. They may have upped the cooldown since then. We don't know. But Dark Knight seems to me be very, very close to what it was Heaven's Ward wise, where it has this identity, and you can basically pick it based on that identity, and its kit overall seems to be very strong. Let's look at Warrior. So Warrior, as we know, is more of the DPS style tank, doing a tank stance. It seems to be they're going 100% in that direction. So they apparently have an off GCD ability that's on a very short cooldown for off GCD wise, rumored to be 25 seconds, that delivers 900 potency. Just for context, that's basically the Samurai's dot, almost 100% of it up front. The warrior abilities are getting a form of upgrade. Raw intuition also seems to be upgraded as well, to be used as an off-tank, main tank type of kind of pick and choose ability, which will also be interesting to see what they do with equilibrium now that there is no tank stance, or supposed to be no tank stance. And then there's going to be something that's going to be an upgrade to Fell Cleave, whether that's multiple Fell Cleaves, higher damage Fell Cleaves, who knows. But they seem to be going to more of that Berserker playstyle. And lastly, for Paladin, we have Spirits Within is basically going to be the old Upheaval, which would make sense. It basically was that in its current state. There's going to be an AoE skill. I believe that is their ultimate ability. I can't remember the name of it off the top of my head. But basically, it's going to be a very high potency ability, rumored to be around 800 potency, that we're looking at. Also, apparently they're going to have a gap closer now. I kind of predicted that it was going to be something similar to Warp Strike, kind of what Noctis uses, but we'll see how that works for that. Overall, what are my impressions? I think that Dark Knight seems to be awesome. It seems to be getting its identity back. Apparently it plays closer to the Heaven's Ward style of Dark Knight, which is fantastic. That is what people were looking for. They want the skill element back in Dark Knight. Warrior, everyone just likes the Fell Cleave, but they want more different ways to do a bunch of damage, and not just Fell Cleave. And it seems to be that they're going that sort of route, so that's always good to know. And Paladin seems to be just getting more damage. Whether that kind of strays away from their identity, we won't know. But I'm kind of interested in seeing how kind of the gap closer plays, because it's also said that it's supposed to have up to 2 stacks, which is also interesting. So we'll have to see how that works, whether it's a GCD also plays a big part as well. So if it's like a tomahawk and then you dash to somebody, or if it's like I can shield lob into gap closer off GCD type of thing. That will also be interesting, as well as the other ones are off GCD for Plunge and Onslaught. So it's going to be interesting to see all the changes. I'm a big advocate for tanks myself. Tanks and melees is what I mean. So I'll be interested, and everyone else will definitely be interested, especially with the homogenization of the TP and MP. So for things like Paladin, before you had your requisite rotation, which used MP, and then you had your fight or flight rotation, which used TP. So I'd be very keen to see how they kind of make those two kind of work. I assume in the live letter tomorrow they're going to have some sort of dummy MP numbers, just so they can show off the abilities, but it'll be very interesting to see how that works in tandem with the overall kit. Lastly, this kind of applies to the tanks as well. Two things actually. No more VIT melds, so it's primary stat melds, which didn't really affect tanks too much. But the last thing is that there's no more debuffs, so no slashing, no piercing, no blunt. So which means that you can basically pick and choose whichever one you want, and you basically just want an identity, and you want to pick the strongest comp in terms of the kits around things, which is going to make things like Trick Attack more valuable if it still exists, rumored to not be in the game. But it's going to be interesting to see how the jobs on their lonesome play without it, because for the longest time Dark Knight needed Warrior, same with Paladin needed Warrior in order to get the slashing, or get slashing from someplace else, such as the Ninja or so on and so forth for the other debuffs with piercing and blunt. But that's going to do it for this video, guys. Be sure to check out the healer video, which I'll be doing next. We're going to be looking into Scholar, White Mage, and Astrologian. And then we'll be continuing on with the other jobs that are left in the basement. But for now, Pilot Flame, signing out.